danger, Jack. Wind blows, rain falls, and the strong prey upon the weak. Sam tells me you see your weapon as a tool. Something that saves lives, a means of justice. Now there's a pretty meme. Exquisite.
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance had a bit of a history to it. At E3 2010, during the Microsoft press conference, it was unveiled for the first time. However, the title was Metal Gear Solid Rising. We only knew very little of the game. First off, we knew that Raiden would be returning as a cyborg ninja of sorts. The setting was meant to take place between Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4, establishing what Raiden was doing between those two games. The other biggest feature is that the gameplay seemed to have much more of an emphasis on direct combat rather than sneaking mechanics, which was prevalent in all the other Metal Gear Solid games. However, in 2011, Kojima Productions secretly cancelled the project, saying that they weren't really able to do much with the cutting mechanic. Thankfully, after a meeting in 2011, Platinum Games offered to work on the game, and here's the result. I give you
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
The game takes place a few years after Metal Gear Solid 4. Private military companies and cyborg soldiers have now become the norm, and Raiden, wanting to lay low a bit, has become the personal bodyguard of the Libyan president. However, a rogue PMC group known as Desperado comes in and assassinates the president. One of the members, Jetstream Sam, is responsible for cutting off Raiden's arm and left eye. A few weeks later, Raiden comes back in action with a brand new cyborg body. Raiden vows to have his revenge on Desperado. Revenge with a vengeance. Revengeance. I don't make this shit up. I'm not going to go into any more detail about the game's story to avoid spoilers, but I think it's worth mentioning that the game's story is about standard fare for anything in the Metal Gear Solid mythos. So you can expect a certain amount of craziness in the game. Except you don't have to expect 2-hour-long cutscenes like in Metal Gear Solid 4, so take that as you will. There's even a part that makes Raiden go,
Oh, you've gotta be kidding me!
Otherwise, it's your standard hack-and-slash fare. Just add a healthy dose of Platinum Games and you have Metal Gear Rising. You can get through the game by using the move list and using different weapons, or you can just button mash the whole way. Combos certainly look flashy, but what takes the cake for this game is the blade mode, which is this game's version of bullet time. You slow down time, you get to aim your sword precisely, and then cut your opponents into a million pieces or in half, however you want. During key moments, there'll be an indicator that'll show up on your opponent, and if you cut through it, you'll be able to perform Zandatsu. Zandatsu is essential for recovering health, energy, and certain boss segments. Being a Metal Gear game, of course there is an element of stealth, but you can choose to ignore that. But if you wish to go a bit stealthy, you are allowed to use boxes, drum cans, and even a ninja kill move. Hands down, my favorite part of the game are the bosses. They're just so diverse, and they provide a sufficient challenge, and they progressively get harder and harder. But what adds the icing on the cake, the soundtrack. I don't normally listen to this kind of like alternative, angry, metal-ish music, but it absolutely fits with the tone of this game. Especially with the boss fights, where it starts off with an instrumental, and then once you get to the final stage of the boss, the lyrics just kick in, and that's when you know shit's about to go down. That's probably one thing I should mention though. The tone is just, it's set to overdrive. It's set to 11. The whole game is just meant to have you on the edge of your seat and have you running on pure adrenaline. However, there are a few things that might affect your decision to purchase this game. First off is the camera. The camera isn't exactly the easiest thing to use. There is a lock-on system, but it's just not up to snuff. One complaint that I've heard a lot about this game is the parrying mechanic. I think people aren't able to get a hang of it, but I personally like it. I believe it just keeps the gameplay very fast, and even at certain segments it just feels satisfying. But the biggest factor that I've heard people argue about is the length of the game. Not counting the codex or any of the cutscenes, the game will last you about 5 hours of pure gameplay. Of course, that's with one playthrough. My first playthrough lasted about 11 hours because I did a bit of grinding so I could upgrade my weapons early, and also I had to listen to every codec possible. The codex is the reason why I like the Metal Gear series, and the codex in this game is on par. But ultimately, I believe it's these three factors that doesn't allow me to recommend this game to everyone. That's why I'm giving this game a 5 out of 6. This game was not meant to be taken seriously, and I'm pretty sure that's obvious, but as long as you keep that in mind, I'm sure you'll absolutely enjoy this game. I mean, look at the scene right here! I can't help but laugh every time!
You are like us after all. Now you're just being nasty.
As a rule of thumb for this game, if anything that you saw in this review or any of the trailers remotely interest you, even just a tiny bit, I'm sure you would enjoy this game. However, if you're the person who was like, it looks kind of bland to me, you could skip over it, or, you know, just wait until it gets a bit cheaper, let's say $30 or something. I have heard that this game will be getting a sequel. I hope that it'll feature Gray Fox. That'd be pretty cool. And I hope that it'll work a bit more with the cutting mechanic, as in, like, you know, different ways to implement it in gameplay, like certain cutting puzzles or something. That'd be pretty cool. But with that, I'm Steve from Natural Uncanny Reviews. I'll see you next time.
Adios, amigos. Now you're just being nasty.